What's up, A to Z Sports? Got the Big Orange preview show. Austin Stanley and Jonathan Crompton live. We're going to do this every Thursday, 2 Eastern, 1 Central Time, with former Vol quarterback Jonathan Crompton. Last week, Vols kick off the season at South Carolina, get a big-time road win, escaped up there in a dramatic game towards the end. But now we're looking forward to Vols hosting Mizzou, the home opener in Neyland Stadium. There will be fans in Neyland Stadium. We're here to break it down. And some big news involving Cade Mays that we're going to talk with. So we're going to have a big preview show here and then get ready for our halftime and post-game show on Saturday, all brought to you by BioPure Music City. BioPure is changing the standard of clean. Hit them up at 615-635-0555 to come to your home or to your office. That's BioPure Music City, changing the standard and clean, and Ashbusters Chimney Service, sweeping, inspections, masonry, and more. Ashbusters.net. They have a Nashville location and a Knoxville location, so all across Vol Country. Ashbusters.net is where to go. So, Jonathan, take us. You're 4 or 5 days removed from that win over South Carolina. Former Vol quarterback, how you feeling as you've been removed from that win?
A lot better than I did the night of. And I say that in the most positive sense. You go back and it's always the emotion right off the bat. Oh, we should have done this, could have done that, coming off the emotional high, especially how the game ended.
Right.
I mean, geez, week one ending on a play like that. But I'm a lot more encouraged than I initially thought I would be. Especially, I said it the other night a few times. It's game one and a crazy, crazy year we're in. But, I mean, if you look at it, dude, JG came out. He was efficient. I think he ranked like 16th in efficiency. Just overall for all of NCAA. So for week one, if any fan thought that would happen and said that, they were going to be mad at that, they're lying. Right. So, but the thing that I'm most encouraged about after going back and watching a little bit of it is the O-line. I know we didn't rush the ball for 250 yards. When we needed it, we ran the ball, but more importantly, we protected the quarterback very well, especially in big moments. Obviously, take away the last drive of the third down. That's completely null and void in this situation. But I'm encouraged. We obviously got to work on third down. 1 of 10, that's not acceptable. But the positive, we started with South Carolina and Missouri. So and I hate to say it that way. At least it's not Ole Miss having to start with Florida right off the bat. At least we got lucky this year and don't have Florida game 2 like we normally do. So that's the encouraging part. So I know this week of practice they're working on third down a lot. Coming up with ways to stay in third and manageable, staying in 3rd and 4 or less, so they can still run the ball. The strength of our offense is our O-line. Let's just call it like it is. So I am encouraged. I'm looking for that growth this week, though. That's what I'm expecting.
And the best thing about Jerry Garantano is he didn't make the catastrophic mistake. Like the decisions he made were pretty good, right? Like he threw it to the right person. It just wasn't on the right spot to the right person all the time.
And if anybody sits here and tells you that they would rather have a more accurate throw into traffic than the misses he had, is a liar. Because I would rather him miss and we still have the ball than him putting it into traffic, a little closer and have a chance to be intercepted.
Right.
So yes, we need to clean that up. That's not what I'm getting at. But at least, like you said, it wasn't a catastrophic mistake. It didn't put us in a situation that we're going, oh crap, we just turned it over on the -10. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. So that is an encouraging thing.
For sure. A to Z Sports, the Vols preview show with Jonathan Crompton here on a Thursday, looking at the Missouri-Tennessee game, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern there in Knoxville. So Cade Mays, obviously it gets the clear last night, which I don't know how you were feeling about this, but I had kind of written it off. I did not think the SEC was going to clear Mays whatsoever, but that is a big deal for the Vols offense moving forward to get 9 games with Cade Mays on the O-line.
Well, if you go back to what I said after the game, Zach asked me, and I was like, man, listen, I think they should clear him. I don't think they will. Well, I'm eating my own words. They did. And I'm glad they did it this week. So he has a week to get ready for the following week. And we all know who that is. And he especially does. That's a big thing, man. If you look at it, like I said, the heartbeat of our offense is our O-line. We feed off of them. Trey Smith is the best guard in the country. Hands down. We feed off of those guys. So why not? Why would you not be excited about this now to have him? Because he's also, if he goes out and plays well, he can be a potential first-round draft pick as well.
Yeah.
Think about that. When's the last time Tennessee had 2 potential first-round draft picks on the O-line? I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, that 2012 offensive line, that was a really good team under really good offense under Dooley. The Sal Sunseri defense kind of ruined a lot of numbers that offense put up. But I know at one point that 2012 offensive line had 4 dudes in the NFL at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And Tiny Richardson was the one.
Had a few.
Yeah, you guys had some good O-lines there.
But having 2 potential first-rounders, though, that's a game changer.
Right.
So
and what this does is crazy for me is Wanye Morris, who's a 5-star sophomore now, is able to be a swing guy coming off the bench because in college football, having the ability to rotate offensive linemen is a big deal. And that's never been the case for Tennessee, at least for the last decade plus, of being comfortable with rotating and having a swing guy like Morris or like some of those other young players that can come in and play a couple snaps if you need them.
Yeah, no, and the one thing that I'll say being a quarterback is, especially right-hander, left-hander would be opposite. Your left tackle, you want solidified. That's my guy. You don't change. The rest should be interchangeable. The center, probably second least interchangeable for a right-handed quarterback because you got to have that relationship with them. But both guards and right tackle, if they can play all 3, and yes, obviously if your left tackle can play somewhere else, that helps. But having that blind side protected and it is such a mental positive for a quarterback, especially right-hander. Left-hander would be right tackle. Right. It's such an advantage. And having a guy like that coming off the bench, we haven't had that in who knows how long, to be able to say, hey, man, our 6th guy is pretty darn good.
Right. For sure. A to Z Sports Big Orange Preview Show with Jonathan Crompton. I'm going to ask you this because you gave your season-long prediction wins and losses last week, but I do want to set you up for a question. I want to know here in a second how your expectations change for the Vols offense now that Cade Mays will play this season. He was cleared yesterday, but first let me tell you guys about BioPure Music City, changing the standard of clean. Basically, for my whole life, like you think about cleaning and you try to make things look clean, right? But BioPure is changing the standard of that now with the coronavirus and flu season approaching, where you want to clean to kill germs. And BioPure Music City kills 99.9% of germs, EPA regulated for coronavirus as well. BioPure Music City. Call them, get a quote to have them come out to your home or your business, 615-635-0555. That's BioPure Music City as well. So, Jonathan, what do you think? How do your expectations change offensively as a whole, not just the O-line, but knowing you have Cade Mays in there now for the rest of the 9 games? How does that change your expectations?
Well, I'm sitting here looking at a couple stats, and for anybody that knows me, stats can be skewed, all this stuff. But when you look at going off of one game, I'm optimistic. I think our run game is going to improve. I mean, if you think about it, including Garantano, 33 rushes, 133 last week. Mm-hmm. Now you get another big boy in the middle. Chandler, 13 for 86, Gray, 12 for 40. I expect those to both be close to 100 a game. Not necessarily every game, but if we can get to where we're both averaging 80, 85 plus yards, at that point, we're doing what we want offensively. And that's my expectation now, especially like I said, with Cade Mays, he has the potential to be a first-round draft pick, especially if you go back and look at all these draft boards. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's solidified, but he's a pretty darn good offensive lineman, and we all know that. So with that being the case, having him and Trey Smith, man, I'm expecting our run game to excel, which now opens up to what Garantano does best, play action. You know what I mean? And with that, so I'm expecting our offense to take that leap. Like I said, especially this week, I would hope that it would happen. But in the next couple of weeks, when they get a little more rhythm together, that's what I'm expecting to see is our run game really excel.
Yeah, and the best thing about this is that Cade Mays has still been able and allowed to do some things in practice. Now, obviously, Jeremy Pruitt and Chaney and the rest of the offensive staff, they want to be able to get the guys who were eligible to play versus South Carolina ready to go. And so Cade Mays probably wasn't getting reps like that.
And even if he's getting reps, it's still a little different when you're a coach and or you're another player in the huddle on how that individual reacts during a game, because you've never been with them during a game. You know what I mean? So the first couple of weeks are going to be a learning curve, but as long as he's healthy and ready to go, I would expect to see him a lot this week, just because it is essentially a tune-up for him because he hasn't had a game, getting ready for the first huge test next week.
Well, the 3 in a row, because Georgia's obviously going to be a test, even though that Arkansas game was super shaky.
But we knew that was going to happen with their QB situation. We knew that.
You're right. We talked about that last week. But then Kentucky's a tough football team, and then Alabama.
They're not a pushover.
Right. So 3 real tough opponents, physical opponents coming up after the Missouri game. So I'm with you. I think Tennessee definitely needs to get Cade Mays some good reps. Matt Wheeler says Chaney barely runs the ball. I don't know. I mean, I saw.
I don't disagree, because Chaney loves to throw it, but Chaney plays and calls plays to the strength of his offense. That's what he's always done. When he coached Drew Brees at Purdue, he threw the piss out of the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's Drew Brees. You're not going to not do that. Everywhere he's been able to call to the strength of his offenses, and more so his quarterbacks. But when you got 2 really good running backs and you got a really good O-line, not to take anything away from JG, because dude has played well the last 7 games. He really has.
Yeah.
But that's the strength of our offense right now. So it puts him in a better situation for the play action. Yes, the pass is always going to take precedence, especially with the fans. You know, it's just like in baseball. Every ball that's a pop fly, everybody goes, ooh. Doesn't mean that it's a home run. So same thing in football. We're all, including myself, we all get excited about when we're throwing the ball. But the staple of our offense is the run game right now.
For sure. And I look at the first drive of the second half against South Carolina. It was an 8-yard run, 6-yard run, 4-yard run by Ty Chandler, then completing a pass for a first down, then 11 yards, Ty Chandler, 4 yards, Ty Chandler. JG then made the scramble on a pass play, but then boom, right back to the run. So 6 out of 8 on that drive were called runs. And so I think that's something that gets Jarrett Garantano kind of settled back in.
It does.
Is being able to get that run game moving like that.
Well, yeah, because like I said, one of his biggest strengths is play action, not necessarily having to be on the move, but the old cliche, sucking up the linebackers, making them think we're running because we have good running backs.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So when you have that threat and your O-line comes off low and gets a little pop, the linebackers instantly say, I can't not play the run. Now your mid-level pass game becomes wide open.
For sure.
That's what I'm expecting to see come more the next couple of weeks, especially when we're playing a lot tougher defenses when you get to Georgia, Kentucky, Bama. We're going to have to use that to our advantage. So right now, hey, man, I mean, why not against South Carolina? Why not throw it a little more, see what we can do, because we expect to win. But notice, like you said, what happened when we had to win? We ran the ball.
Tennessee had to get a touchdown on the first drive of that second half. 14. Right. And so they
ran the ball. So that's the thing is we're still going to throw it. That's not the issue. But we're going to, when it push comes to shove, we're going to run the ball. 32 passes, 33 runs.
Yeah. So answering the question, how does Cade Mays and his eligibility change my expectations? I said this before the Vols season started when Zach and I were having a conversation that I want to see Tennessee be able to run the ball when the defense knows they're going to run the ball. And be able to get that push in the offensive line and convert those hard yards, because I thought Ty Chandler looked physically a little bigger, like he looked a little more yoked up this year. Eric Gray still needs to get stronger, I think, when he's running the ball. But now that they can actually have a physical offensive line, those guys who are typically smaller backs can have some more room to get going back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's you hit the nail on the head. When they know we're going to run the ball, you should still be able to run the ball with the O-line we have. So I'm expecting us to be able to do that. Obviously, are we going to average 6 yards a run? No. But you better be able to get 3 and 4 yards when we got to get 3 and 4 yards with the O-line we have. And I'm expecting us to be able to do that. And I expect us to at least attempt to do that this week going against Missouri.
For sure. A to Z Sports Big Orange preview show here with Jonathan Crompton, former Vols quarterback. Also, don't forget, halftime of the Missouri game and post-game Missouri game, we'll have a show right here. A new sponsor on the show with a new fun segment we're going to be doing on Thursdays and post-game. That's ashbusters.net. I'm about to ask Crompton one Vols player he thinks can catch fire in this Missouri game, which will be fun. Ashbusters.net. They are your chimney service experts. So if you live in Nashville or even Knoxville and the surrounding East Tennessee area, head up, check up ashbusters.net because it's about to get fireplace season. The weather's getting nice and cool. You want to have your fireplace getting going.
Yes.
Make sure you check your chimney out before you light that fire because disaster could happen. And these guys, ashbusters.net, they are the pros. They've been doing it for a long time in Nashville. Now they're in Knoxville for a couple of years now. Ashbusters.net is where to go. So, Crompton, who's a Vols player you think could catch fire against Missouri this Saturday?
Well, first off, I'm going to go back to the building a fire and everything. That's when you know football season's here.
Yeah, right.
Okay. When fall hits the South, everything drops. And we have finally made it. So I just had to say that. But the one player I really think I'm going to kind of go against what I just said about all the run. I'm going to go Velus Jones Jr. And the reason why play action, over the middle, intermediate throws. I mean, if let's see, what did he have last week? It was 5 for 29. Nothing spectacular. Now he was targeted a few more times. Yeah, but I'm expecting somebody like him with his size and ability to really kind of take a step forward. I'm not saying we should expect to beat Missouri 100%. We should expect that. Missouri's not a pushover. We all know that. So kind of going off what I was saying, though, the run game should help this intermediate pass game, and that's why I think he could have a breakout game, not going 10 catches, 200 yards. Mm-hmm. But somewhere in the realm of maybe 8 or 9 catches, maybe 10 catches, 95, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that, all intermediate passes, because as long as we do what I think we're going to do, run the ball, they're going to be open.
Yeah, and I like that pick because I kind of like what they did with him in the motion where they would pitch it to him. That technically counts as a reception, but kind of almost like the
easiest completion ever.
Yeah. You're glad that goes in the box score as a completion for you, right? But yeah, I like that jet sweep toss thing, and he's quick. I think he showed the ability to run with the football in his hands and make some people miss. Gain some tough yards.
Don't be surprised, though. You kind of sparked something in my head. Don't be surprised. We used that a few times last week. Chaney's always got something up his sleeve. Don't be surprised if we do something, not necessarily because that's a forward pass, but notice how quick it is. Don't be surprised if we hand it off and we do a reverse pass or a jet sweep pass off of that, as long as he can throw the ball decent enough. I've never seen him throw. I'm just saying Chaney's always got something up his sleeve.
Right.
Well, it might not be this week. It might not be this week. We might save that for a bigger game, but keep showing it. Now it's so close, hand it off, hit him down the sideline for a Palmer. That's something that Chaney's always willing to do.
Yeah, Rob says Velus Jones is fast. He absolutely is. I saw Roy and Sean. Sean said Eric Gray is going for 150. Roy says he's going for 175. Eric Gray.
They do that. We're winning 85% of our ball games if they do that. If they do that week in, week out, because that means we're playing ball control. So, guys, hey, kudos to you for having that mindset. I love it because if that's the case, we're winning a lot.
Yeah, and I like Eric Gray. He's definitely dynamic. I feel like, though, on this touchdown run, he did some of this, but he needs to run stronger with the ball. I feel like a lot of times first contact knocks him off balance a little too much, look for that this upcoming Saturday. See, how first contact affects him in the run. He's gotten stronger than he was a year ago, obviously, as a true freshman.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think I want to see more from him because Ty Chandler did impress me with how physical he ran the other night.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like I said, to me, those two behind that offensive line, that's the stable of our offense. obviously we've got a nice group of wide receivers and with T. Martin coaching them. But, dude, Jay Graham's coaching the running backs. I mean, we got a hell of a coaching staff being able to coach these guys. So the future, it looks bright. It really does.
For sure. All right, before we get out of here, we got to give a prediction on this because we'll go live at halftime. Yep. We'll go live at postgame. The Vols Big Orange preview show here today, presented by BioPure Music City and Ashbuster's Chimney Service in Nashville and in Knoxville. So the Vols are an 11.5-point favorite. And I tweeted this out last Saturday after the game. Woo! The Vols covered. I said good teams win, great teams cover. The Vols covered that 3.5 against South Carolina. I'm not going to make you pick it against the spread. I have to do that tomorrow morning.
No. It's more fun to go against the spread.
But that 11.5 is tough though. It's
very tough because there's a lot to take into account. How Missouri played last week in the sense of, then again, they played Bama. They obviously they didn't play overly great. I mean, Harris coming out with 98 yards. I mean, so that tells me we're going to try to run the ball. But I think we cover.
Mizzou scored 2 touchdowns with under 8 minutes left in the game. Like that's like
all right. Watch this. I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Okay.
Zach, I know when he's watching this, he's gonna hate on me for this. I'm going to say we cover, but if they score one of these late ones, I'm not counting it.
Oh, Vegas is counting it.
That's garbage time.
The backdoor cover.
I do think we cover because I think we're the better team. I'm not saying they're a pushover. I just think we are a better team. They're in rebuilding mode, like for sure rebuilding mode. Yeah. I don't know if they have an identity of what they want to do. So I do think we cover. I'm not saying it's a blowout, but I think we're at least a 13, 14 point win.
Yeah, Rob says Middleton and Schamberger are back. I have not seen if Schamberger is back yet, but I did know Darrell Middleton was coming back on the defensive line. Schamberger is important because we talked about this off air about what Missouri has in wide receiver Jalen Knox, who's really productive from the slot. Shi Smith was near impossible for Tennessee to guard on Saturday. So Jalen
Smith may have just solidified himself off of week 1 of being an all SEC receiver already, just because of now. But think about it. Football coaches, man, what they do, they steal previous week's success. Not in a bad way, but put your own wrinkle on it. You really think that Missouri's not going to have something for the slot because we covered the slot piss poor?
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're going to have their own little wrinkle, and do not be surprised if they use what we did and run a slant and go from the slot. We did it last week because now we're going to emphasize, hey, play inside. Well, you play inside, he's going to lean hard and try to get right up the seam. So we better be ready if we go split safety look. That slot, the nickel back, better be ready to cover the seam as well.
Right. Yeah, and Danico Slaughter, badass name. I think he's a badass young player. But
with a name like that, you better be.
I know, right? I know. But I think he's going to be a good player. Obviously, that was his first game in a weird year to be able to go in there as a true freshman and start. Now, he gave up a lot of yards and a lot of catches to Shi Smith, but hopefully it's a learning lesson for him too. All right, Crompton, thanks, man. Always good stuff here every Thursday at 2 Eastern, 1 Central Time, Vols preview show. And don't forget, coming up on Saturday, halftime show, post-game show of Tennessee hosting Mizzou. You think Mizzou does not, maybe backdoor cover, but Vols win comfortably, maybe a backdoor cover.
This is the one. If I'm betting, I stay away from the cover on this one
for sure. All right, man.
I think it's gonna be close.
Well, I'm going to be forced to pick it tomorrow morning, so I haven't made my mind up yet. So I have time. I have time to send that line back and then make my decision. But all right, thanks, man. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, see you.